Welcome to CrossTalk. I'm your host, G. Harris. With me, I got Tony, the one and only. CrossTalk presented by the Goaline Network. Tony, what's going on, man?
It's been a wonderful week. I can't wait for the fact that football is right around the corner. It is tomorrow.
It is back. It is
tomorrow.
back.
Welcome back.
Absolutely. I am so pumped. We have a very special show this evening. Very special show, I must say.
It's our first show, man. It's our first one.
This is special on so many levels. I've been, with me right now. I'm drinking a bottle of Poland Springs. Shout out to Poland Springs. You have our number. Contact us.
You're always throwing in product placement. This is come on, man.
We have so with some big news yesterday. Ray Lewis last night. Last night on Showtime's Inside the NFL, guest Ray Lewis, a guy we may have heard of, stated that the Ravens were going to close the deal to sign Colin Kaepernick, but due to a tweet by his girlfriend, it didn't sit well with Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti. And the Ravens decided not to sign him because of that, according to Ray Lewis. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, a tweet by his girlfriend made Colin Kaepernick untouchable to the Ravens.
Well, what do you know? Social media back at it again, ruining the lives of another NFL player. But, hey, that's what ends up happening. Now, can you get the quote of that actual tweet? I need to get the actual tweet of that. So
the tweet was it was a racial picture. It was a racial picture. So it showed Ray Lewis hugging. He was like along the shoulders of the owner. Right. That was like the top portion, and the bottom was a picture from the movie Django, where Samuel L. Jackson was slumped over his slave owner. So that was like the correlation there. They were trying to show Ray Lewis as like Uncle Tom or like, the house Negro. Right. So they took offense to it that way, understandably. But I don't know if you can, not sign a guy just based on that. I don't know if that's enough merit, if that's being, real enough, if that's the reason you're not signing him. But I think it didn't sit well with Ray Lewis more than anything. Hence him bringing it up on the show last night. I mean, I don't,
because that's not the way that Ray Lewis wants to be able to be portrayed. Ray Lewis doesn't want to be considered to be an Uncle Tom or a house man. You know what I'm saying? That's not what he wants to be considered. And he has a lot of respect for the Ravens organization because the Ravens organization has taken him in and done wonders with him, as much as Ray Lewis has given it back to the organization. So at this point, it's blasphemy to the point where Ray Lewis getting into a situation where he feels that he's being put into a category of being a turncoat, pretty much. Yeah. Now we all know the situation of Ray Lewis, and we all know the reasoning why for Ray Lewis as well too. Now going back into it, I mean, could Ray Lewis have still been signed, and should he have been released when he had the situations when he was accused of murder? No, didn't need to be able to do that. But the Ravens organization stuck by him, and I believe by that tweet, they felt that the Ravens organization was able to stand by him. Why couldn't they be able to stand by Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah,
I understand the reasoning for her doing it, and it's completely still in poor taste. But it's something that the Ravens organization does not want to be able to have going out into the media like that. You don't want to have that.
Absolutely, and I totally see that. And my biggest thing is this. I mean, some people may say that I'm a Ravens fan. Some people may say that.
They may say that.
So it's Ray Lewis, growing up, Ray Lewis I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Ray Lewis has been like a god in Baltimore. There has, he's second to none. However, since his retirement, Ray Lewis has been rubbing people the wrong way in Baltimore. And honestly, okay, the picture, I don't know if she actually made the meme. I think it was something that she just posted.
I doubt she made that kind of meme.
Yeah, I don't think she made it. I think she posted that. However, I just don't get why Ray Lewis would come out and publicly mention that was the reason, and that he would have been signed had it not been for that tweet. I just don't get what he got out of making that public, because obviously, yes, the tweet is distasteful, but I don't know if anyone can honestly say that is the sole reason why the Ravens didn't touch Colin Kaepernick. I'm not buying that.
No, and I really wish the fact that they actually got the real reason why they're not signing this kid. They're not really. Now, mind you, is he athletic? Yes. Can he really actually become an actual legitimate quarterback in the NFL with the right system that's not college-esque, like a Jim Harbaugh? No.
Yeah.
He's just not. And I mean, yeah, you have a small sample size with the new San Francisco coach now, but at that point, the writing was still on the wall. He was still dropping down in his quarterback rating, and at that time, his touchdown to turnover ratio was abysmal. So at this point, people are seeing not just the fact that he has all of this baggage behind him, he also has to deal with the fact that his play is also putting him into a huge, huge hole here. Unless he's found some way magically to be able to say, hey, I've progressed, stop worrying about what's going on in my past, stop worrying about what's going on with all of this kneeling and stuff. Look at my film now. See what I've done to be able to progress and to be an actual quarterback in the NFL. Then maybe they'll actually listen. But as of right now, what's that?
Yeah, it's tough because with Colin, I think he was a free agent. Well, I mean, he canceled his contract with the 49ers. Right. When at the time he did that, I did not agree with it, because I said it the day he canceled his contract, and there were talks that he wasn't gonna, that he might opt out of his deal. I was always against that, because I knew then he wasn't going to be touched. I knew then he wasn't going to be touched. So I don't know who Colin has in his corner and who's giving him his advice. But I would change those people who are around you, because at the end of the day, you have to make financial decisions that are correct. Now, obviously, if he wants to stand for race equality and all what's going on in America today, great, by all means, use your amendment. However, at the same time, with money comes power. And if Colin Kaepernick is not constantly receiving these $1 million checks, I mean, he could have had $15 million making this year. Now he's not getting because he opted out. He was able to, protest and kneel because he was a $1 million quarterback in the NFL. Now, he's not in the NFL, and he's not making those $1 million checks. He might have different business ventures, to keep him sustained. But at the end of the day, you have to continue to make that money to make sure you are in a position of power to implement change at the end of the day.
You're absolutely right with that.
All right, our next topic, we have Odell Beckham Jr. In news, who says, I wouldn't count it out in regards to him possibly playing Sunday night versus the Dallas Cowboys. So OBJ, who is currently out with the ankle injury, says, hold on, don't count me out Sunday. So do you think he suits up Sunday? Do you think, if he does, you think he's a decoy, or is he really legitimately ready to play?
Honestly, regardless of if he is or he isn't, with it being only week one, and I know it's against the biggest rivalry that they have against the Cowboys, would you risk it? Yeah, you got some time to be able to heal it. And would he be a decoy? I would say that no, he would actually get some significant touches. He'll find a way to be able to get through that Cowboys defense, because I'm sorry, but their secondary still hasn't really progressed since the last 3 years. That's pretty much been the Cowboys' weakness, has been their secondary. So it'd be a good way for OBJ to actually be able to test out that ankle, and I would say that he would be going to go. Okay.
Yeah, see, my thing is that the Giants are a much improved team from last year, and much improved team. And, coming into this year, the Cowboys are kind of down. You had Ezekiel Elliott. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he going to be suspended? He's not going to be suspended. Well, news, Ezekiel Elliott is now playing this game, and after which his suspension will start. Now, OBJ is possibly injured for the game. Kind of the tables are turning a little bit here for this game. You kind of saw the Giants at strength against the Cowboys, who are going to be, down on some, manpower. And now it's, a star from the Giants might not make the game. Are the Giants in trouble Sunday? I don't know. I mean, you still have Brandon Marshall there. You still have Eli Manning. You still have a top defense that the Giants have right now. You're right. It's the first game of the year. I wouldn't play OBJ. It's too long of a season for you to try to risk furthering the injury. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't suit him up.
Right. The question is, would he actually do it? And the only thing is, knowing him, he probably will try to give it a go. Just for the hell of it.
I think he would want to give it a go. And also what I'm thinking as well is, if he is gonna be suiting up, I think he's going to be a decoy. I don't know, but obviously I know his competitiveness. He's going to want to be out in that field. He's going to tape that ankle up, and he's going to want to be out there. But I just feel I don't know. I just feel don't risk it, man. I'd say stay on the sideline. Don't suit up. Just get healthy. A long season ahead. I think this team is significantly better than the Cowboys, that this one game won't be the deciding factor come the end of the season.
And it's true. I mean, if he was going up against, I don't know, Josh Norman in Washington, I'd say that would be 100% you're going to be playing, because I would have to say the adrenaline with him going against Josh Norman will pretty much just be he'd be off to the races from there. He'll be there.
All right, our next topic we have out of L.A. All right, L.A. Rams, their star defensive tackle, Aaron Donald, is still holding out. All right, so we are days before the start of the 2017 season, and there's still no sighting of star defensive tackle Aaron Donald. Now, should the Rams just pay the man? I mean, should they just go ahead and pay him, and Donald can sue money and just move on with everyone's lives and just pay him and let, what should they do here?
For the love of God, it's one of those situations where, like, if you want to pay this man that kind of money, will you get what you can in return? And I'm telling you, this man has been proven. They need to pay him as soon as freaking possible so that he can be able to get on that field at Indy come Sunday. There's no way that they should have him hold out for any games. That man has produced his talent. That man knows what to be able to do. He needs to be paid, bar none.
Absolutely. See, this is it's unique because a lot of players of late, more players have been pushing the envelope as far as the holdouts, because for a while there, players are threatening to hold out, and you start missing. Or you get fined for one, not showing up at the training camp. So they're building up the fines. And then, if you're not playing, if you're holding out, you're not receiving those game checks. So a lot of guys, as it gets closer to the season, start to walk, they start somehow stumbling back into the building, I'm here, because they need, you don't want to miss those game checks. But, you saw a few years ago, Cam Chancellor out in Seattle. He held out, I think it was 3 games he missed. and he finally came back. You know, he didn't get his contract right away, but he came back after 3 games. But Seattle's defense was hurting then. I think with the, so I think with the Rams here, you're still fresh to LA. You have the LA Chargers now that are coming to town. I don't think now is the time where you want to possibly lose fans to the Chargers. You're still building your brand out in LA. You need the face of your franchise defensively. You need him there. You need to sign him. He is a top defensive tackle in this league. Pay the man. Pay the man. I don't see what the discussion is here. Obviously, Ndamukong Suh is getting a ton of money. I don't know if Aaron Donald is asking for that. I'm assuming it's up there. Pay him.
For his money.
Pay the man. Pay the man.
I really do want to know what Aaron wants for money here.
It begs the question.
It's one of those things where it's like if he's looking for like a holdout of like ridiculous amounts of money, I mean, I would not understand why they're not paying him. Like
this man needs to be paid. All right, with our moving on our next topic, we have T.J. Ward.
This is one I like.
T.J. Ward. He says the Broncos were completely unprofessional with his release. So former Broncos safety T.J. Ward says the team was unprofessional with his release when they could have let him know during the off season or training camp that they might be looking to move into a different direction. All right, so my question is, do teams owe it to players to, keep them in the loop for business decisions?
As far as business decisions, players do need to be able to know what's going on. They need to be able to know what's going on to be able. Now, the reason why I say this is because you know what? Players need to be able to know what's going on in their lives too, whether or not they need to be able to find a way to push themselves to be able to make sure that they're not going anywhere, or make sure that wherever they need to be able to go, they actually know what's going on with it before they end up making decisions. Now, sometimes in certain situations, players end up getting signed to a team within the next couple of months. They end up buying a house in that city. They end up, booking their children there, dipping their children into the schooling systems there. And the next thing you know, come week 7, I would say week 8 is trade deadline. From that time, he ended up traded. And he ended up having to go to another city, where at that point, they had to take all the stuff that he just bought and just have to up and leave. These people need to be able to know these things.
I hear you. I hear you.
Right.
It's just, obviously with, depending on what that player has done for your franchise, how much of an impact player this player is, you would assume there would be some type of open dialogue possibly. However, I don't think that a franchise owes it to a player to really keep them in the loop. Players, this is like a friendly reminder to players. Not that T.J. Ward his play was not down. He still was producing at a high level. He had a few injuries in camp.
The man was an all-pro safety, for God's sakes.
Exactly, and you can't discount that. But players have to bring it every year. You literally have to bring it every year, and I think that the beauty of this being a business is you never know when it's your time up. It's a big thing I always tell people is never get too comfortable, whether it's relationships, whether it's, on the job, it just never get too comfortable. Not that you want to be looking over your shoulder in a relationship or at a job, but, you need to understand that you have to bring it every single day, especially in the NFL. But with that all being said, I think the Broncos, I don't think this was a wise decision by them. I think Tampa Bay got an excellent safety in T.J. Ward. And, hey, I think T.J. Ward might, he might get the last laugh on this one.
I would say so. The Buccaneers, literally, I honestly really do feel that the Buccaneers are going to be going places this year. I mean, at this point, their offense is starting to really click. I mean, Doug Martin is most likely going to turn around the year that he ended up having from last year. And, I mean, Jameis Winston, I just feel that man is going to start becoming more of a leader within the locker room and being able to allow the Buccaneers to be able to progress to a team that they should be. And with an addition of T.J. Ward into their arsenal, the Bucs are only just being able to get better from what the Broncos are actually doing now. So.
Mm-hmm. Right. So our next topic, the Chicago Bears quarterback situation. Coach John Fox today announced that rookie quarterback Mitch Trubisky has earned the backup role over Mark Sanchez. Coach Fox said everyone was impressed with how fast he's picked things up. And just to throw out some preseason stats here for Mitch here, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 354 yards, and 67% completion percentage. Should the Bears just go ahead and start the rookie? I mean, just what are you really going to do this year, Bears? Should they start the rookie? I mean, just throw him in the fire?
This is my problem. This is my problem with this. This system is absolute trash. I honestly do not want to be able to put someone with the caliber, that potential that Mitch Trubisky might have, and actually start him with the type of playbook that Chicago actually does have. Right now, what they actually have in their scheme and their system, it doesn't work well. So at this point, what they have with Mike Glennon and Mark Sanchez, just fucking let them go. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Just let that go for the season, because as of right now, the Bears have absolutely nothing to be able to show for what they have. I mean, yeah, they have Jordan Howard. I mean, he's a solid running back, but there's not really much that you can possibly do, especially when you have one of the lowest offensive lines that you have as well. So.
Absolutely. That's a big thing in Chicago the past few years is the non-existent offensive line. They have Kyle Long, who is literally the only lineman they have there. Literally, they have one lineman. That's all they've had. Right. Honestly, I look at it like this. The Chicago Bears, they're not going anywhere this year. Let's be honest. They're not really going anywhere. Mike Glennon, you signed him to a pretty hefty contract. So obviously, business-wise, you want to kind of see what you can get out of him before you might cut ties at the end of the season.
I would not say even might with this. I would most likely even say he would probably be gone. He'll be gone by the end of the year. Absolutely.
I think that would be, that's definitely a fair assessment. And with Mitch, I look at it like this. Mitch, I always have been a proponent of quarterbacks starting early and just learning on the job. I've always been big on that. In Chicago, you ask yourself, who's he going to throw the ball to? What receivers do they really have? You have Kendall Wright, they brought from Tennessee, who I think can be a great receiver still. I think he just was, on their coach's not so good list. He was in the doghouse there. But ultimately, they don't have the talent there that you would want to surround a young quarterback with. So I do see your point there. However,
I wouldn't even. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, I just say, look, just start the quarterback, let him do what he can, learn on the job. If you guys win 3-4 games, so be it. You have a better draft pick to supply this young quarterback with the necessary talent needed. But I don't see how your franchise benefits by putting a Mike Glennon out there or a Mark Sanchez, and they're clearly not the future for your franchise. Why waste time? Put the rookie in. He showed the league is not too big for him in the preseason. I say just play the man. Play the man.
The only thing I wish that they didn't do is actually promote him to a backup quarterback, because now he actually does have to learn this playbook. He has no choice now but to be able to learn the playbook. If he actually stayed third and ended up playing as a scout quarterback, he would end up having to be able to chance to not have to learn Chicago's playbook until most likely, if anything, next year when they end up flushing that coaching situation out of there anyway.
And that's true, because I think there will be a coaching change.
Yeah, I feel that if a coaching change, not even if, when a coaching change does occur, and a new playbook will then end up coming into fruition, then you would end up having to want to start Mitch Trubisky. He'd have a fresh new playbook. He would be able to learn this thing up and down, and he'd be able to go and actually produce the way that he would, instead of being able to use Chicago's system, this current system now, and pretty much set himself up for failure. Because, yeah, you're going to put him in, that's fine, but as of right now, the only thing he'll end up getting is pretty much, a few touchdowns here and there, and not that much progression. So you would only hope that he would end up exceeding expectations within the first year in order to be able to put him on the field. But if anything, I would just keep him on the bench and have him just being able to learn all the scouts' playbooks.
Okay. All right. So we will see what they do in Chicago. Odd situation, but hey, we shall see. Last but not least, Navarro Bowman says he's tired of being overlooked. And I feel bad for, making Navarro our last topic. Tonight.
No, but it ain't belief. It ain't belief.
Yes. Last but not least, Navarro, not least. So former overall linebacker Navarro Bowman said yesterday that when healthy, he is still one of the best linebackers in the league. Is he right? I mean, is Navarro Bowman speaking the truth here? I mean, is this, what's going on here?
Now, Navarro Bowman, I've heard this name for God knows how long. This man has had all-pro years. No, all-pro couple of years here.
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly say that he can't be overlooked, because there's not a lot of linebackers out there in the NFL that they are glaring over and considering that this is their person. When I think of hard-hitting linebackers, I am thinking of Navarro Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
That's a person who I know for a fact that I don't want to see him if I'm lining up opposite of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to absolutely say that, no, he's not being overlooked. If it's by mainstream media, I'm part of it. I would pretty much say that Navarro Bowman is one of the best linebackers that's out there right now. So if the media is overlooking them, I would say they're right.
The 49ers drafted a linebacker in Reuben Foster out of Alabama. Is that is that an indication that he's being overlooked? That adding, other people to his position, is that, are they trying to signal that?
I wouldn't specify it right off the bat. Now, what round did he end up getting drafted? Reuben Foster?
I believe second round he fell to them.
Second round. Okay. So the second round draft pick, I mean, I still wouldn't consider that to be something that's being overlooked. I mean, you have quarterbacks being drafted in the first round that are not taking over starting quarterback positions right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Not even in situations of being drafted in the late rounds. Now, if it was a situation where San Francisco ended up drafting a linebacker within the first round, then yeah, you have to have a red flag right up there. But no, this is not one of those situations. So I really wouldn't put Reuben Foster's draft pick into consideration of them overlooking Navarro.
Yeah, so my thing with Navarro, like when I was a big fan of Navarro Bowman when he was coming out of Penn State, he's just a gritty linebacker. I think when Patrick Willis retired and Harbaugh left the 49ers, people forget they had a bunch of players that just were walking out the door. I mean, that 49ers team is a shell of what they used to be. So I think that just comes with the territory when you lose that many big name players and coaches. That and obviously their team, you got a team, the 49ers, that they went to the Super Bowl, The following year, they went to the NFC Championship game. This was a successful team that had, a pretty good run. And then everyone left, and the team's been struggling, ever since. So, sometimes, obviously when your team is, on top of the world, you're on primetime TV, everyone gets to see you, you're a household name.
Exactly.
People know you, but if your team's not winning, and you're not having primetime games, you're not in the media, sometimes people might forget about you. And Navarro had, he had a few injuries over the years. But, I think, when healthy, I absolutely think he is in the top 5, maybe top 3. He might be upset I'm saying top 5. I'd say, top 3 inside linebackers in the game. I think of inside linebackers, I think Luke Kuechly out of Carolina.
Carolina, right.
Navarro, Bowman. And, off the top of my head, these are 2 big names that I would immediately think of when I think of inside linebacker. So I would have to disagree and say he's not being overlooked. I'm not overlooking him. You're not overlooking him. So Navarro, I think it's time to, get to work, relax. Nobody's overlooking you. Just produce on the field, man. Stay healthy and produce.
That's all you got to do, man.
And that's going to wrap it up. CrossTalk presented by the Goaline Network. G. Harris, Tony, the one and only. The Goaline Network. Follow us on Spreaker. It's an app. Get it. Podbean. It's an app. Get it. Follow us on YouTube, SoundCloud. Simply just type in the Goal Line, and we'll be right there. We're on Twitter, _Goal Line. Instagram, the Goal Line. Facebook, the Goal Line. Great show tonight. Over and out.